I'm great. It's such an honor to be here. It's good to see you always.
Yeah.
Yes.
Long time, huh?
Right.
So I want to introduce Monica today. She's one of the founding members of our Homebase Africa community, together with Michael Hubbard. She was one of the first ones, together with her husband Michael, to join our community. Is basically a founding member, and she has such an inspiring story that I would love to share with you. So drop your questions in the chat. So basically, they left the US with the dream of permanently relocating to the African continent, and you're left with so many questions, not knowing which country to choose, right? And so you visited Kenya shortly, though, but you saw Nairobi, explored Zanzibar, and eventually decided for Rwanda. And you are even in the process of buying land there right now. It's such a big deal. Congratulations, Monica.
Thank you. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be like after making such a life-changing decision in Rwanda to buy land, which is a huge commitment, right? How does
Yeah.
it feel to be back with this feeling in the US?
It feels wonderful. Just wonderful. I can't wait to be there. I can't wait till the whole process is done. I'm just trying to be patient. It's all in God's timing. So just try not to rush the process and just let things go. Making sure we're doing all our due diligence, very important, I have learned. So there's a lot that I've learned through this whole process. So
Hmm.
um, one of the things is don't make emotional decisions, although it is a
Exactly.
very emotional thing. So.
Yes, absolutely. Let me start by asking you, when did this desire to relocate to the continent came up for the first time, and why? What were the push and pull factors? What pulled you to the continent, and what's pushing you away from the US?
Just, I think, as I started to see some things unfolding with the way that the countries were behaving and the direction that they were going, really, I just had a whole shift in my reality and my belief system and everything. I've always been very optimistic and I wanted to believe the best. And so I actually didn't think that there was I thought that racism was about to be healed in the US. I thought that, oh, we've come to a place where now we're starting to realize, Martin Luther King's dream and all this kind of stuff. And then I thought what happened is that some people were trying to poke at that and like just bring it back out or whatever, but we were almost healed. And just soon, I would say starting in like the beginning of last year, or maybe right before the beginning of last year, I started to really realize that that was not true at all. It was always there. It was just not showing its ugly face. And yeah, so I just wanted to believe the best because I've just always been that way, just wanting to believe the best. But sooner or later, you have, at a certain point, you have to realize that, yeah, whether you want to believe that, that's just not the way it is. So yeah, I was ready
Mm.
to go.
I wonder, was there a specific event, a turning point, like a tipping point where you said, okay, now leaving is not an option anymore?
It was really a progression of a bunch of little things, but I'll tell you one thing that I remembered was that um, we were going through trying to find how we could be most effective, how we could be most useful, how we can contribute the best. So, I mean, my husband and I, we've been married 28 years. So I remember we were both started off as like they have parties here in America, Democrat, Republican, and then there's independent, which really doesn't matter. It doesn't have any effect. They just really give you two options, which are not really options, but that's another topic. So we started off as Democrat, what they tell you you're supposed to be
Mhm.
as a Black American. And then we said, well, maybe that's not the way because we saw that they were not doing what they were saying. So we'll try Republican. And then we saw that they were not doing what they were saying either. So then we tried independent. And then we saw, well, that doesn't do anything at all. And just as we started to look more into politics and things like that, we started to see that it's all a farce. Like it's not even real. And
Mm,
it's just really like the kind of the glasses came off where none of it's real. It's an illusion of choice even. So
mm,
yeah, just that started about fall of 2024, I would say.
mm. And when was the moment that you put your attention more onto the African continent, that you felt drawn to the African continent as an option for relocation?
It's almost like it wasn't really a moment. It was really sort of a shift, and it was gradual. Um, Obviously, 2020 opened eyes to a lot of different things. We had time, and people on the internet like yourself were sharing things, and we were getting there was a lot of exchange of information. So we were getting to see things from people on the ground in real life of contrary to what the narrative was that was being told. And then there were some people who were sharing some stuff like, and they weren't like necessarily, we kept following them, but maybe a piece here, and then a piece there, and then a piece here. I remember when I found you, you were one of the many voices that I found, but you were talking about Zanzibar, really a place I hadn't thought of or really knew much about at all. And it just came back around to you because as we were thinking about, you know what, I think that, oh, oh, it was about realizing that we, I believe, and I believe Deuteronomy 28 shows it that, some of the Israel, because it talks about all Israel returning to the land. I believe that those called Black Americans are some of those people. So
Mhm.
as this reality became true, which took a little bit because when you first hear it, you're just like, yeah, that sounds nice. I mean, I'm sure everybody wants to be that, but I'm not gonna just be jumping on that just because it sounds good or feels good. But as I started to look into it, I was just like, oh wow, more lies, more things we've been, um, just lied to about. So this started the thinking about exploring going back. That's what it was. Yeah, I had to really
Mm.
think back. I'm sorry. It's just been a
Yeah, it's a process,
yeah.
um, and sometimes you don't really remember where it started, where there was the real shift.
Mhm.
Um, but what I found interesting is that so from the videos, I remember when you came to the African continent it was your first time to the continent last year when we met you here in Nairobi.
Yeah.
I remember you had already, like, I wouldn't say decided, but you were sure that Zanzibar is going to be that place, right? Going to
Yes.
relocate to and then, yeah, tell me about your experience then actually arriving in Zanzibar and what made you change your mind, and maybe also what you were expecting, reflecting back now to your thoughts prior
Yes.
to arriving there.
Yes. So, as we began to just hear more about Zanzibar from you and just learn a bit more about it, we just thought this is going to be amazing. This is going to be the place for us because we love warm weather, we love the beach, and I like the idea that this beach is full of people that look like us too. So this is going to be great. We knew we were going to love it. I thought I was thorough with my research, and it's not that the things that I researched were not true. It's just that you don't really, I guess, how can you get the vibe of a place if you're not there? You can have all this information, but you have not felt it, you have not connected. So, went there, and oh my God, some of the most beautiful beaches I have ever seen. I mean, we've been to Hawaii and to Okinawa, which is gorgeous, the East Indian Ocean, snorkeling in there. Um, and, South Florida has pretty beaches too, but it's just like Zanzibar. I did not know. There's like videos where you see some people have said, oh, I went to heaven and the colors in heaven. they just don't exist on Earth. Like that's what it kind of felt like. I was just like, I didn't even know
Yes.
there are that many shades of
Yeah.
blue and turquoise. And
Yes.
every time I looked at that water, it was gorgeous. It's
Mm.
never not gorgeous. So, and it's very calm. And I remember you describing the sand being like flour. And you
Yeah.
think you're just pulling from the best description you can pull from. No, no, it's like flour.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, it's white and it's so fine like that. So yeah, I really loved that. I thought we would love the weather because we love warm weather. We really do. We love the beach. And I had just gotten to a point. I mean, all of our kids are in their 20s. They're all out of the house. And I just got to a point in my life because I've always lived in mixed areas, except for a very small period of time when I was younger. So like there was a lot of diversity in where I've lived. And I think with everything going on and something just happened to me where I was just like, I just need to be around my people. Like I just want to be around more. I just need that. And
Mhm.
so it all sounded and it looked good. We went there and we did enjoy the way it looked. We did enjoy the beach. We did enjoy the first interactions we had immediately was just like Hakuna Matata. And it
Mhm.
was just I was like, they really do say that. But it was beautiful. We enjoyed the night market, and
Mhm.
that Zanzibari pizza was just as good as you said.
Which one
Um,
did you have?
oh,
Which
we
one did you?
got the dessert with the
The
Nutella and the
sweet one, of
banana.
course.
Yes,
Yes, with banana
yes.
and
We thought that we could share one. No, no, we had to get
mhm.
our own. So,
You know, I
um,
always get myself before I reach home. While driving home, I finish it so I don't have to share with my kids.
yes, it's so good. It's so good.
It's small.
Yeah. And but it just it just ended up feeling like it was gonna because we were there, I think, before the very hot season. It was just turning into the to that season.
Mhm.
And towards the end of our week there, it started to get to those temperatures. And I was just like, whew, that's
Mhm.
hot, you know.
Mhm.
I was like, so
Mhm.
I mean, unless I'm always in the water or something like that, I don't know that I'm gonna want to be in a place that gets that hot. And so again, that's just me. Everybody's different. That's why I say you have to go, you have to feel it out. It depends on things like, your temperature tolerance and your sun tolerance. And maybe even, I feel like when I was younger, I did like hotter. And now I'm getting older and I'm just like, I do not need all that heat. So I want more
Mhm.
balance. What else? So yeah, it was the temperature. And then also, it was just it's so Zanzibar itself, the island, is very like it's I think something like 99% Muslim, you know?
Yes. Very
Yes,
conservative also.
which I saw on paper. But when
Mm.
you get there and you think about living there full time, I was just like, do I want to be like the only non-Muslim around? Because that's what it would pretty much feel like. And
Mhm.
I didn't want that full time. So the heat, I didn't want full time. I didn't want to, with the difference in religion the whole time, even though everybody's very nice and very peaceful, it was no
Mhm.
issue
Mhm.
religiously. But just the thought of that, like what if something pops off? Because I'm thinking that way all the time now because look where I'm coming from. So
Mm.
then there's um see, my list is on my phone and I can't see my list.
Mm.
Um oh, I got sick. I got food poisoning. There's ways to prepare for that, but I didn't know about that at that time. But anyways, so I did get some sick, and when I was there, I couldn't get some of the things that I wanted, and that was another reality about island life. It was like when you live on an island, you might not have access to all of the
Mhm.
conveniences, all of the different foods that you might be used to having. Obviously, a different country, you're going to have different access anyway, but I'm saying specifically island. So they have many great things that you will find substitutes, right, from nature.
Mhm.
There's wonderful healing fruits and things like that.
Mhm.
But in that moment, I knew what I knew. I wanted to reach for the things that I knew would help me, and I was not able to find or get most of them. And the other thing, it had just come to mind.
Like
Uh,
how was it for you to navigate? Because you also came there with the goal to look for a property to rent, right?
yeah.
And to start an Airbnb business. Maybe
Yes. It was like, well, when we came, things had just changed to where you had to have more, uh, like a bigger place. And so like the rules had changed to where maybe it favored more people with a larger capital. So we didn't have that. And so it was just a bit, it felt risky for us not knowing anyone and not having enough time to build relationships, to where we could like trust, like go with a local partner sort of situation, because there you do need to have a local partner in
Mhm.
order to, for you to have a business. So yeah, that was the thing. I think it was the deterrent for us of not having, just not feeling comfortable, because I mean, I don't want to give somebody like what I can't even remember, maybe 70% of my business.
70% of the shares.
Yeah, that I met Tuesday. You know what I mean? So I just it just didn't feel comfortable enough for me and for Mike. So there was that. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and I feel like that was a good reminder, basically, that it's so important to always be on the ground and, make your on the ground experiences, because you can project so much into it. You have this idea, this image of living somewhere, doing business somewhere, but then when you reach there, right, and when you get confronted with a different reality, that's really like the best way to make sure you don't make a mistake, to cross check by going there, actually,
Hmm.
and that's what you said. You described it perfectly. Like, it's a vibe that you have to experience, that you cannot describe. And I had a similar experience when visiting South Africa. So for me, South Africa was always a dream. It's, for me, one, if not the most beautiful countries on the African continent. But the stress that I felt inside, because of the safety issues, just, stopping at a junction at the red light in the middle of the night. And I started shaking, looking around me, because that's where you become an easy target, when you're waiting at the red stoplight. That's what people told us. And it was in Cape Town, it was in Johannesburg, it was almost throughout my stay. And that's an experience, it's a feeling that you need to feel, that can help you to determine what the if the country is the right fit for you. And I'm
Yeah.
saying this because also in the chat, um, people ask me all the time which is the best country to choose. There is not one best country. There might be several countries you need to visit to feel the vibe, to experience. Now, my next question is, after, or it was basically before Zanzibar, you visited Nairobi, right?
Hmm.
How was your experience from Nairobi? Like, it was your first time on the continent, and also the first touch point, when you arrived in Nairobi.
Yes.
Was what you saw what you also expected and imagined before arriving, or was something that surprised you?
So it surprised me with no, like as far as what I expected. I don't think that I don't feel like it was some sort of letdown or anything like that. I don't think that. I think I just came saying, to discover. So I didn't have a expectation per se about that. But it was. I was just happy to be there and happy to connect with you guys. It was just really. I can't. It was just very different. Like the airport is different. Um, is that the one? Was that the first place you get off? No, because you go. We went to Addis first, so it was
Mm,
different for me. I had actually never been to a place where you get off outside and then you walk, or a bus takes you. I'm usually to just being inside these little I forget what you call them, skywalk or
mhm.
something. And
Mhm.
it's all enclosed. So just not knowing even just what to expect and doing that, that was different. Um, it was okay as far as language because a lot of people speak English, so that wasn't an issue. Um, but when I was, uh, we stayed in Kilimani. We stayed in Kilimani, and
Mhm.
it was just like not. I enjoyed. We went to this great restaurant that actually you recommended. It was so
Mhm.
good, and we really enjoyed that. And but it wasn't like the vibe that we like for us to live there. Like we wouldn't have wanted to live in a place like that because it was just very more like downtown, more like in the city. And I am in my late 40s, so I
Mhm.
mean, I think that my kids who are in their early to late 20s will probably feel a lot different than me. So
Mhm.
but for me, it's just like I don't. This is nice to have nearby, but I don't want to live there. So then I was just starting to think like, okay, maybe this place isn't gonna be one that I consider because I was thinking maybe about doing a business there as well, and I was like, it just doesn't feel like home. It just doesn't feel like I could live here. And then even like walking around. Oh, something I didn't expect is that there's like open drains, I guess is what you call
Yes.
them. Yeah, and so it just seems like I didn't expect that because I just heard about how so like finished it was. And so to me, to my Western perception, it just seemed like that to me that just looked unfinished, It's a small thing, but it's just you asked what I didn't expect, so that's what it was. And then
Mhm.
also, but then we ended up going to more like of a suburban area. And then I was like, oh, okay. I didn't even know this was here. So
Mhm.
we went to this I don't know. I think Nairobi's a great place. I see myself visiting Nairobi a lot, but the price has gone up from what we want to spend.
Mhm.
If it weren't for that, then I would probably still consider, especially after going out to the suburb and seeing the lush green area, going to Tomoka Cafe, which is just like
Mhm.
Tomoka coffee. Yes.
Mhm.
Um,
Ethiopia.
Yes, you guys started me on something there. I mean, I think the first place you took me was to an Ethiopian restaurant. I had never had Ethiopian food before, none of it. And I was just that I connected with that. I definitely did. That's something that I never forgot and never got out of me. I wanted to always experience it like again and again. And so even now when I go somewhere I'm looking for an Ethiopian restaurant, I'll find it and I'll find what I like there. And I'm always taking like extra injera home because I don't know how to make it. And this way I get to enjoy it for a few more days. But yeah, so I really loved the experiences, being with
Mhm.
you guys there, being at the farm, what do we call it? Farm resort.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Ubuntu.
yes, that was very nice. But honestly, it was just like the connections for me. But yeah, I love the lush area, and I could definitely see myself there. But the best part about Kenya for me was you and Marvin. Honestly, it was just you guys, who you are, and the experiences that we had where we just spent like quality time together, just
Mhm.
sharing a meal or talking or being out in the garden.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe who knows? I probably wouldn't even like it as much if it wasn't for you guys. So
And
yeah,
also, you should spend more time next time when you come to Kenya,
yeah,
right? That you can explore other areas. I'm still every time when I visit a new area here, like it was 2 weeks ago, we visited Nanyuki, right, where Robert has his villa,
yes,
and that was also like a completely different, how would I say, landscape with the views around Kenya. And like last week, I came back from the coast, right? It was again a totally different experience, similar to Zanzibar. Now, but before we get to Rwanda, like even though you basically for your wedding anniversary, right?
yeah,
But you also came to research
hmm
and to understand. the legal pathway, right? And so definitely, as you said, Zanzibar is the most difficult of all three, because you need this minimum 2.5 million investment capital if you want to register a foreign company as a shareholder. And if you don't have these funds, it doesn't mean it's impossible, but you need strong, trustworthy contacts on the ground because of this shareholding agreement by law that the joint venture business that you start, the alternative, right, say that the local partner gets 70% of the shares. So, and I understand totally that this is not something that you decide in a week. Like in my case, I relationships over 15 years, right? So, yeah, it's definitely a longer journey now. How did it feel like? I remember you, like somehow you were hoping for. I felt that something that like find a property that will be not so expensive. I mean, you looked at a couple of properties, right? Where you would even like with the risk, if it's like we're talking rent of 500, right? The risk is so low that you would start that business, right?
Yeah.
And I remember you were quite disappointed, and we had this conversation that due diligence is so important, right? Especially with that beautiful property in Bueju, where it was so uncertain, the legal status of it. And
Yeah.
I get so beautiful. I was even, for me, it was too good to be true. I think Marvin negotiated down, she asked at the beginning, $1,500.
Yeah. Yes. And he
And
negotiated down quite a
two,
bit. Do you remember?
I think it was $1,200 per month.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful property, three bungalows, huge bungalows, right? And
Yes.
to expand actually. And yeah, what did you learn out of this feeling of going back, maybe not having achieved on the first trip what you hope to achieve? And what can you also share with the audience that could help them so that they avoid making a mistake?
Yeah. So we went during our anniversary time frame, and that was really our, I guess, the permission we gave ourselves to go. So because we always went somewhere on our anniversary, but we really knew we wanted to do this, so we said, why don't we just go during spend the money that we would spend vacationing to go there and explore. So that's what we did that time, and we had it was at the end of the year because our anniversary is November, and so um, we didn't have a lot of vacation left. So we
Mm,
only had like 14 days or something total. And when you're
mm,
traveling from here, it's like 2 days, it seems like. I mean, if you leave in the morning one day, you get there the morning the next day, I think. It feels like 2 days. So, anyways, you lose some time with the travel. And so what I would say is to definitely give yourself as much time as you can. I mean, the next time we went back, we gave ourselves 3 weeks because that's as much as we felt comfortable. He has a job and stuff like that. Um, but we tried to stay as long as we could. And so that my advice would be really just try to stay a long time so you can really feel out the place so that you can learn what you need to learn about it, because you can learn a lot online, but not as much as you're going to learn being there.
mm-hmm.
I just
Yes.
really think it's important to spend a good amount of time in an area
Mm-hmm.
to decide. So yeah. And and as far as not being able to get that property, I'm kind of still mad about it actually, because I just really fell in love with it and I really wanted to be there. It wasn't that far from you guys and some of the properties you have, and even Marvin's uncle was like right across from there. So I knew that I would run into you, there, and that was nice too. But yeah, so I was disappointed with the regulations that the country made, because it kind of edged us out. And it's a great place to invest. If you can do it, I mean, it's a great,
Mm,
it's a great investment. Go for it. But yeah, just too bad that it didn't work out for us at that time.
mm.
But yeah, did
Yeah, I mean,
answer your question?
I think the issue was that the owner of the house, the landlord, the couple, they didn't have the documents ready yet, and so I think that was the main issue. But everything else, I mean, it would have been no problem at all to get the licenses and the tourism license for this property, right?
Right.
Um, so now my next question. Now after this experience in Zanzibar and in Kenya, how did you decide, like, how did Rwanda happen? It was almost a month later or 2 weeks later, you were telling us in the live call, yeah, we are coming back. We booked our flight to Rwanda. So
Yeah.
what made you explore Rwanda as an option?
After being there the first time, which I think is a good thing, nothing's wasted, right? And we learned from that, and it gave us the experience of what it's like to travel to Africa, and learning some things about Africa, just that it's very, about the country that's different from us, or just like what we wouldn't have known before. So it was really important, like how to deal with people or how you might be perceived, stuff like that. That you just gotta encounter and learn how to, like, as my dad would say, swerve, just learn how to. And so I just started listening to people. I started listening to people on the live calls, people who were well traveled. There's one woman in our community, Janine, and she's just been so many places, and she's like a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
Um, and she shares so openly, and yeah, she's a treasure. So
Mm-hmm.
I began listening to her, and actually you, I mean, still, because like you saved us actually, from, because you were like, well, wait a minute, asking questions about this property in Beju, Beju. So you're just like, well, let's look into this, and then come to find out about them not having the documents and stuff like that. So yeah, due diligence is so important, so very important.
Mm-hmm.
But let me stay on track, answering your question about how Rhonda came about. So in those calls, there's a dear woman in there, Bana, who had mentioned before that she had been there and it was a layover, and she just said, you know what, I'm here. Why don't I just explore? And she got out and she said about how impressed she was with it, and how lovely it was. And so hearing more about Rhonda since then, and just remembering back to what she said, I was just like, let's take another look, because it's not something that we even thought about, with it being like pretty much landlocked except for Lake Kivu. We just were not interested at all. And then we just said, let's take a second look. And then when I looked back, um, it ticked so many boxes. I mean, so for one thing, on the island of Zanzibar, they do have, like, or at least when we were there, they had like a lot of power cuts. When my husband would need to work online, and so that was not desirable. A lot of those power cuts, and then also, um, and they don't have a lot. They don't have a lot in Kigali, and so that was very attractive, and they were very, built up as far as the technology industry, things like that. So I was watching, and I watched and listened. I always say I did it like 3 or 4 times as much as I did from the first trip. For
Mm-hmm.
people who have been there and things like that, just trying. And I knew what I didn't like, and I was trying to see, well, how's it with this and how's it with that. So like, yeah, how's it with the internet and stuff like that? How's it with accessibility to like different foods and different kind of things that I need? So yeah, Rhonda, I was like, maybe we slept on Rhonda, which we did. And I began to look into it, and I loved the infrastructure. I wasn't even looking for like this, but everybody just kept talking about how clean it was. And I'm just like, why is that, such a big deal? I mean, shouldn't things be clean if you can? And so then I mean, but then when I went, I was just like, wow, I see what they mean. Like they are serious about this cleanliness.
Mm,
And so they're not exaggerating. Um,
mm.
and
Yeah,
then so
I remember. Sorry, don't want to cut you off, but I remember this live call that we had where Mbena shared that every first Sunday of the month,
yeah,
the all the residents gather for cleanups, for city
yeah.
cleanups.
Yeah, I think it's called Umaganda, and it's like every last Saturday of the month, they will all clean. And you can do it like in your area, or sometimes there's like you can go into public areas and do it as a group. So they will do that for the first few hours on on a Saturday. I think it's the last Saturday of the month, and then they also have a car-free Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember which one, but it's a car-free like morning where you're encouraged to just walk and be outside and not be driving around and things like that. And they always have a couple of car-free zones, just
Hmm.
always. And the president and his wife would be out there participating sometimes, which I thought was really cool. And then also there is another one where exercise. There's one day where they all get out and they like exercise together. So there'll be different stations, different activities you could do. You could do like dancing, you can do weightlifting, you could do like I don't know what this is, pulling some ropes.
Hmm.
Um, it's a bunch of different things you could do, and it looks like a big old party. But yeah, just to be outside exercising together. So yeah, this togetherness and taking pride in your place and taking care of it, that was really lovely. And then the people were very lovely. Um, um, I definitely connected in the way that I connected with you and Marvin. Like I connected with the people there. But see,
Mm,
I didn't have much time where I was with you guys, but
mm,
there I was there longer, and it was just like I felt that I felt like I could live here, you know.
mm,
And the thing, and I knew that it was right when I realized that okay, the things that are because no place is perfect. Everything has something. Oh, I don't really like this about this place,
mm,
but those things didn't make me. They didn't deter me. They didn't make me
mhm,
feel like, oh, I can't do
mm,
this, or this isn't for me, or I'm not cut out for this, or you know, which I knew then. I mean, we had a couple nights where I know one night there was like no water because we stayed out in the country,
mm,
and the house where we were staying at had not enough tanks. I think they needed like an extra reserve. So what
mhm,
happened was the city water was cut, and they didn't have enough for the amount of people that they had staying there. And
mhm,
so I'm in there, and they're bringing me like a big bucket of water, huge, and then
mhm,
I'm having to like shower with this, and I still wasn't feeling like I'm not coming back. You know what I mean? Like I was just
mhm.
like, okay, so this can happen, you know. And
Yes,
so
you learn with this. I mean, like it's like you choose your battles, right? And this is a battle like a struggle that I gladly live with. I feel you.
yes.
It's like same way I feel about also water shortage here as well and power cuts. But here the power cuts are maybe an hour or so.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, so I just felt like it's okay and I can definitely roll with it. And I like how the government they want people to come invest, so they're very serious about not uh what do you call it, like scamming or like taking advantage of the investors.
That's
Yeah.
one thing that shocked me. I can't even believe that. Please, you have to share this with the audience again now.
Yeah. So there's like corruption in a lot of places, and there's even like a list they will have like top 5 countries or whatever with the least corruption, and you might see on that list, you might see some countries. I think the last time I looked at it, it says, and this is not the order, but it said I think it said Mauritius, Botswana, Rwanda was on there, so it names them. And so I, I didn't understand what it meant by corruption. Like, what is this the saying? The monster or the beast you know what I'm saying?
Devil,
The devil,
is
Yeah, so I knew the American devil, you know what I'm saying? I understand our corruption, but I didn't
mhm,
understand what corruption looks like over there. So, or how to, I had to learn. It was a learning curve for me. And that's just with me and my personality too. I'm sure somebody else would be like, oh, I could do this easy. But
mhm,
for me, it was just more of a learning curve. So when I got to Rwanda, they don't tolerate. I mean, they really have a lot of protections in place for investors. They are
Mm.
serious. They want investors to come here, and they're very serious about not littering and like dirtying up the ground. And they're just as serious about do not F with our investors. you
Yeah.
know, you do that and you will pay. So there was even a guy that I had heard that he was basically scammed out of like $40,000. The government found the person that scammed him, put them in prison, and made them pay back every cent. So yeah,
Was it that the person was abroad and when she was entering, she was
yes,
arrested at the airport, right?
that's correct. Yes.
Wow.
And also, I would say, do not, I know as far as Rwanda, this is how it is. So they're agents, they're real estate agents, they're not regulated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but there is like I guess there's a list of registered ones, and you could
Mm-hmm.
find what that is. But my point is that the real agents over there are called commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you can go through like a law firm, they have brokerages, they do it, or just a commissioner, which would be the equivalent of an agent. But when you see these advertisements on the internet and they are in English, because understand that their tongue over there is Kinyarwanda. That is what they speak. That's what they speak to each other. That is the number one language.
Mm-hmm.
Now, many of them do speak English, so you're not going to have a problem, getting around. But when you see these videos advertising these properties and showing you these properties and they're in English, that's a little first red flag for you. Why? Because these are marketed toward people like me coming from overseas, trying to see what we can see about that. And those prices are inflated, and
Mm-hmm.
their fees going to be inflated. And you think, oh, not everyone's like that, or I can find a good one. You can do what you want to do. You are all adults. But I will tell you, and don't say I never told you nothing. Go and get yourself a it doesn't even cost much to have like a lawyer look over your sale agreement. It must be done in front of a notary. Um, get a commissioner to show you some properties. When you see the prices for what some of these people will show you versus what you see on the internet, you will be so glad that you didn't just see something beautiful and say, "Oh, I have to have that and I want to go and get that." Don't do it.
Now, are we talking about prices, rental prices, monthly rental prices? Because you also went there with the goal to explore options for starting an Airbnb business, right? And looking at the rents. But then eventually, you ended up basically on the journey of buying land. So I, I'm still processing that. I just remember coming to the live call and Marvin telling me they just found a piece of land. So please, how did this shift happen? I'm not sure if you came with the vision to buy land there or maybe option in your mind, but how
Yeah.
did this happen? And then also chose for this area that you chose, Bugesera.
Yeah. So we were looking for a place to rent, and in our mind we thought we can do like rental arbitrage until we can make it over there, and then we can like live in it if we need to, or and then we can buy something. So we were just trying to have a way to start to have a stream of income, because you should not go move overseas and not have some kind of income. It's not the thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we had some, but we wanted more of a cushion. So then basically, we were going for that reason. And what happened was, what we discovered is that a lot of the people there are just like doing it themselves. And the ideal situation you can find to get a really low price is like if someone is kind of like, maybe they have a property and they just don't want to be bothered with the renting it out or the administrative, because then they're going to be happy that you come in and you manage this for them and you're making them steady money. But like I said, in Rwanda, like they're very tech savvy. Their industry is really growing, so they're doing, and the population's young. They're doing it themselves. So it's different. It's like when we went in, we found this place, and we were like, "Oh, this is great." It's this two-bedroom, two-bath apartment, and it was in a nice area for like convenience and stuff like that. I think the area was called Kichukiro, and
Mm,
it's like one of the last metro areas before you start to get more into the country, around
mhm,
Kigali. And
mm.
so, but it was, as soon as the landlord found out that we wanted to do rental arbitrage, because you have to get permission, you
You
have
have
to
to
let them
tell
know.
Airbnb with the property. You need the permission of the landlord. Mm.
Yes. And so he then wanted to raise the price because he was like, "Oh, you're going to be making money. I want some of that," where it was like not going to be worth it for us to do that because, by the time, you have your staff and different things like that, it was too risky and didn't seem like it was going to be a good move at all. So, yeah, it wasn't um again, we were just there under 3 weeks, so staying longer, we could have looked longer, stuff like that, and we may still. But yeah, during the time we were there, we were not able to find something that we wanted to do with rent. I would have really liked that, because it would have been nice too. Because when we go back, we staying in our own place.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, and it would have been perfect. But it's okay. Then we ended up finding. So we went to Bugesera. Why Bugesera? So Kigali is partnering with. Is it pronounced Qatar? Or is it Qatar?
Qatar. Yeah,
Qatar, that's what
Qatar.
I thought.
Mhm,
Yeah, over here they keep saying Qatar, and I'm like, I don't.
mm,
But anyway, so they're partnering with Qatar, and they are building a brand new airport, international airport, and it's going to be out in Bugesera. So they're actually going to close the airport that is currently there in Kigali,
mm,
and it's moving to Bugesera. And so it's just right now it's like a country. It's far from the city. Everything is more centered around the city. This is still some years down the line, it's
mm,
not immediately happening, although you can see the progress at the airport. But so your prices are not up to where they are in Kigali and stuff right now. So you can get something for less money if you are looking out into in Bugesera. So that's why we decided to take a look out there. And what we decided to do, and I highly recommend this, if you're thinking of investing in an area, then you should stay in that area. So we did not just stay in Kigali since we knew we were interested in Bugesera. We spent a good amount of time of our stay in Bugesera. I think we were there at least 10 nights. We stayed out there. So just to see what it was like, do we like it? What is life like out here? And I really liked it. So yeah, I did not want to leave. I was actually hoping I could get stuck. I was hoping something. I'm like, hey, my country is over there acting crazy. Maybe they'll do
mm.
something and I can't get back.
That
So
would be such a pity, right?
right.
I
Oh, too
I
bad.
feel you. I feel you. It's horrible. I always used to cry when I had to go back to Germany.
Yeah.
I was always crying, and I'm happy that I don't have to go through that anymore. But like when you say it's more cheaper, can you give us an idea? Like I'm wondering, what is the price of buying land there in Rwanda in this area
Yeah.
around?
Yeah. So everything needs to be in Rwandan franc. You should know this. I'm gonna talk USD just because I haven't. I can do a little bit of it, but I just want to make sure that I'm accurate for you guys. So if I try to say Rwandan franc, what if I say the wrong price? But when any type of agent or commissioner is dealing with you, it's gonna be in Rwandan franc. Like it's the law; they have to do that. Just so you know this. Um,
Mm,
but so a place that we were looking at. Oh, there's this place called Ribeiro. Okay, first of all, there's hardly a bad view in Kigali. It's called the land of a thousand hills.
mm-hmm,
Um, I mean, you would just be riding in the car and happen to look out the window, and you're just like, it was like Zanzibar with the ocean. Like no matter
mm-hmm.
where you're at, you look at the ocean, you're just like, oh my god. So that's what it was like with the views in Kigali. You would just be like, oh, so pretty. And I got that sense because I would see so many videos, and I was noticing that they were saying, "Oh, it's so beautiful," and then they would turn the camera and try to show us. And I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, the way that you're describing it and the way that you're acting is not matching up with what I'm seeing. I'm sorry.
Mm,
Like, and then I said to Mike, I said, I think maybe the camera can't capture what they're seeing.
mhm,
And
mm,
that's definitely true, what I found. And so I was really, but I believed that it was really beautiful. And this is why I started paying attention to the younger people. So, like ISO Speed was there. And
mm,
I did not know who he was because, see, you have younger kids, right? And I
mm,
don't know. And you're on this platform
mm,
and all this. But he just kept coming across my feed, and I'm just like, I kept ignoring because I'm like, I don't know who is this. I'm not trying to look. And then finally, I couldn't. I'm just like, okay, fine. Who is he? What's he doing? And so, right around the time I was watching, he was in Rwanda, and I'm like, wow. So of course, I'm watching the whole thing. And then he went to
mm,
Kenya next. But anyways, he was talking about. He said it was one of the most beautiful places that he had ever been. Um, so I'm like, and then there's another YouTuber, and he's young too. I mean, I guess he's in his 20s for sure. And then he said the same thing. He was like, Austin Hellman is his name. He had said, um, it's so beautiful. He said, "This is the most beautiful place that I've ever seen." Like, I'm not kidding. So when you hear these, they don't typically exaggerate like this. You know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna be like saying this and they don't mean it. Especially, I know the one. I know Austin doesn't. He's just. That's why I like real people like you, when he
mhm,
doesn't just like say stuff
mm,
that he doesn't mean. So when he
mhm,
was like saying that, I was just like, okay, it must really be something beautiful. So when I went and I saw it from, yes, it is, and I'll be showing some footage, but we'll see if it translates because wow,
mm.
it's just a different thing. So yeah, it's a
Uh,
beautiful view
one,
everywhere.
one 1 second, Monica.
Yes, yes.
Everyone here, okay, please subscribe to Monica's YouTube channel. She's going to share much more of her journey to Rwanda, the process of, the buying of the land that you're in the middle of the process right now, and building a life there. And you will share footages, right, more of your experiences. So please show our Dada Monica, our sister, some love.
Yeah.
Please subscribe to her YouTube channel. Your channel name is also the name of your brand, right? Your
Yes, business there.
Airbnb house, villa that you're building.
Yes, Kugaraka Iwachu, which in Kinyarwandin means returning home, like return home, returning back home.
That's so beautiful and powerful. But please return it for me. Repeat it for me again. Ku-
Kugarika, Kugaruka,
Kuga-
Kugaruka
Kugaruka
Iwachu.
Iwachu. Kugaruka Iwachu.
Yes.
Returning to the motherland.
Hmm.
Love this. Love
Yeah.
this. I can't wait to visit you. I've never been to Rwanda, and so it was always on my bucket list. But
It's
sorry,
next
I didn't.
door. It's
I
next
never went.
door.
I
So
know, but you know what's crazy? The flights,
I know.
like flying to India, flying to Dubai, is cheaper than flying to, even though it's just a 2-hour flight.
I really hope that changes because I
It
was
will.
pretty excited about being that close to you guys.
It
So
will. It,
okay, good,
I'm
good.
sorry, I cut you off. You were
No,
just
don't be sorry at all. I
asking.
mean, yeah, because I am doing a channel. We're doing a channel because so many people. What I found is that everybody has a different perspective and a different experience, so you can learn from different stories and different perspectives, different experiences. So as uncomfortable as I am, I don't really like being on camera, but I said it's important, to share what we know, and it can help, even if it just helps one person avoid like one of the mistakes we made, then it's worth it. So that's why we're doing that. So yeah, it's a beautiful place. You're I mean, I have a lot of gut issues. Like, America's food is poison. You can't even really call it food. Even sometimes they don't call it food. There was the whole thing with the CEO of McDonald's calling it product and all this kind of
Mm,
stuff. I mean, I don't eat that stuff, but even if you try to eat healthy, get organic, it's not real. And it has made me very sick to where basically I can barely eat anything. I eat like a rabbit. Um, and but when I went to the motherland, when I went to Africa, I tasted fruit and I thought I had tasted this fruit before, but it was like tasting it for the first time. Oh, you
Mm,
thought you had an orange? No, you've never had it. You thought that you had an avocado? You definitely have never had an avocado. You thought that you had, just name it. And it's so different. It's so fresh and juicy and wonderful. It's like a miracle in your mouth. I can't even believe. I was very upset at what I had been. I said, well, no wonder I'm sick. You know,
mm.
when I
Monica,
can't I, I can't
there,
have milk here. Oh, did someone say something?
there's someone in the chat exactly asking this question. I want to
Oh,
you
fruits.
from Yahida. Please, I'd like to know, does Rwanda have the same access to the fruits that you can get in Zanzibar and Kenya? I'd like to know about the access to coconuts, mangoes, soursop. Um, wait.
Mango, soursop, passion fruit, you can get without a problem. Coconut, I wasn't really looking. So I guess I didn't really see or look for coconut. Yeah, so I can't say that I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Palm trees everywhere. So, but yeah, readily accessible, fresh fruit. I mean, roadside, markets, um, grocery. I mean, it's everywhere. Yeah, it's just like you can't escape this fruit. Farms, a lot of people are farming there as well, so it's great. Yeah, that was important for me as well
Mm.
because yeah, I had to have that.
Just really quick back to the question before you share more about that experience, Bugesera, because I think many people, including myself, we are interested in this. Like, what is the price for the piece of land?
Oh yes. So when I and that's why I got sidetracked because I was about to tell you that I really liked Ribeiro, which is an area. It's up higher in the hills. So when you're higher, like anywhere, when you're higher elevation, it's cooler, but also your views are like woo. Okay, your views are also next level.
Hmm.
So we were looking at a piece of land. So for example, one property we're looking at in Ribeiro was like 90,000. Was that USD? Do you remember? Well, 90 versus like 10. It was a lot different as far as, so that was just land.
Ten
Um,
thousand.
see, this is where I get a little muddy. Was it 90 Rwandan franc versus 10? Um, it was a big difference. I can tell you for sure it was that big of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
The land was so much more affordable out in Bugesera. As far as rent, I don't think I was really looking at rent. Yeah, by the time I got to Bugesera, I was not looking at rent. I will say, okay, so the one 2 bedroom, 2 bath apartment that we found in Kichukiro, that was 400 a month.
USD.
Yeah, USD.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is a place that I saw in Bugesera that's like apartments or something, and they were um like 430 USD. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so they're running, I guess, about the same. But in Bugesera, you don't have all those apartments. It's like Nairobi and Kigali, where you have these high rises and things like that. You don't have that in Bugesera yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's just smaller. Someone bought a plot of land and they put up an apartment building that has maybe 10 units or something, 8 or 10
Mm-hmm.
units.
I
Something.
prefer, and I like that more, to be honest.
Yeah, I like it as well. But yeah, they don't. So in Bugesera, you don't have that. So I can't do that comparison because it's not there.
Mm.
Um, yeah, but
Someone,
mhm.
someone is asking in the chat, if you pay the rent for a whole year in advance.
No, no. In fact, now they do like to go month to month, in fact, because I think it's so that they have the flexibility of being able to change on you. This is what someone said. So yeah, because otherwise, why don't you want like a commitment? But yeah, you can go month to month. They definitely don't want you to pay a whole year. I've not even heard of that. No.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to an event where the mayor usually attends this. He wasn't there at this one, but it was like a bunch of Black expats there. It's got a great supportive Black expat community.
Mm,
And this was out in Bugesera. But I mean, it's a lot. And so I was talking to, my point is, I spoke to a lot of people, a lot of business owners, a lot of people who have been there for a long time. And yeah, so yeah, you don't have to, you definitely don't need to pay for a year. No, not even close.
mm, mm.
English,
Yes,
English in the country, I see someone asking.
yes.
So anytime you go to any restaurants, any hotels, anything that's more of like touristy, they're gonna speak English, and they're gonna speak English no problem. If you are more where it's kind of like a moto, because the moto is a popular mode of transportation. You know, it's like a little motorcycle, really. So if it's a more of a job like that, you know, like maybe more common service sort of thing, they won't speak much English. They speak some, but not as much.
Mhm,
So knowing some Kinyarwanda is good, and at least having the converter app. If you don't, and I obviously need to work on my conversions. Mike is so much better than me, so that's probably why I'm so this way, because I can just depend on him. But um, I need to learn it for myself. But yeah, if you need to at least have that app with you, so you know what is the value uh,
mhm,
that you're spending. But yeah, and you should know like what is the reasonable rate to pay, you know, because yeah, sure, you know, they'll let you pay them more, or tell you just a couple, maybe a thousand Rwandan franc more or something like this. And you can, if you don't know, then you can pay more. I mean, so
mhm.
yeah.
So many people in the chat have been asking again for the link to your channel or your channel name, and
Oh,
you're supposed to see this. That this because this is a live where I invited her channel. So check. I'm recording from my phone now, but in
me
case
too.
you don't find it, it's Pugaruka
So
is.
it's a
Mhm,
Kugaruka,
mhm,
and the second word is Iwachu, which is Iwacu.
you.
Yeah. And that's
And
Kinyarwanda. I did it sort of to honor the people, and just I wanted it to be something that they could understand and pronounce. Yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful. You know, it's that's the right way to move forward, and build meaningful connections and relationships. It starts by honoring the land, and its people, and yeah, I just find this so beautiful. That's really inspiring. Oh my God, Rwanda is, I can't wait to go there, especially since like I came to realize how affordable it is still. This, I believe it will change fast, right? The more investors come in. So we are right now in the very early stages of the country opening up for investors. Like just to, if I compare it, so you're saying like just to, let's do the math. So you say you can get land there for 10,000 US dollars, right?
Yeah, I mean, even cheaper. You can get it for like five in Bugesera, 5,000 something, like maybe 5,700. Even I saw 4,700. You can get, and that's enough for you to build a home on, like a full with everything that you need. It's not going to have like some big garden at that price, but you know, you can definitely get it. I mean, yeah, it's affordable in
Like,
Bugesera.
yes.
So 300 square meters is the minimum, and they will give you, that's the minimum that you will have to build for residential land. And
Mm-hmm.
also in Rwanda, everything is zoned. Like they have a master plan because Rwanda is small. So every piece of land, it has already been uh, designated for a specific use. So this is agricultural, or this is going to be like satellite city kind of thing, or this is going to be residential. And then they have like by density. So it's like residential one, two, or three. Like is it low, medium, or high density residential?
Mm-hmm.
So, um, yeah, I mean, the best thing I can say if you're looking to buy land is you should have someone who can at least look over the agreement for you. Ideally, best if someone can speak with the owner that speaks the language. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I have friends who live there now, right? And so if I see something I like, I ask them, "Can you, look at this for me?" And they speak, they're native. And so that's going to go better for me in negotiations than I calling up with my twang. Hi.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to give me the best deal. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, so it's better if you can deal with somebody. You at least want to make sure that you're safe, that you're making a safe transaction. Because there has been some people try. I was reading about this. It was on LinkedIn, and I guess there was someone who tried to. I'm sorry about my clock, but it was someone who tried to do like they were working with somebody in the government office and kind of faking documents. So,
Mm-hmm.
this way you have somebody to check for you. They got to do a land survey to make sure there's no like encumbrances or like a road is going to go through your land for the
Mm-hmm.
master plan. So the survey is really important. You also want to make sure that the owner is who is on the papers really the owner, because what if they have like a spouse, then
Mm-hmm.
they also have to be party to that agreement. You have to make sure that they did get it transferred into their name, because sometimes people haven't even finished that process, similar to like the Boisjeu situation.
Mm-hmm.
um, and then also, you want to make sure that what was the other big thing that could happen? But yeah, so yeah, you just want to you want that survey, and you want to make sure that what you want to do with the land fits into the master plan. Because yeah, you can buy a piece of land, and then you can find out later you can't do with that land what you had in mind. So this is part of due diligence. You have to um, you just have to be able to know these things, and the way to do that is if you just go through like what we are working with is a um, real estate lawyer, and so this way, and that's not expensive. I'm telling you, it's not expensive. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and just make sure that you don't do any like side of the road deals, or that you make any verbal deal. You have to sign in front of a notary. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just trying to give you like easy quick takeaways, at least. Like, if you're not
Yes.
signing in front of a notary, something's wrong. If you have
Mm-hmm.
not seen the piece of land with the UPI number on it and
Mm-hmm.
the landowner's name, something's wrong. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so exciting. I love that you will document this process, and so that others can also learn. And
Yeah. Our mistakes
yeah,
too, so we're gonna be quite transparent. So
yeah,
yeah.
but that is really what really helps people, not sugarcoating, but also, showing the pitfalls, the dangers, and yeah, because it's not easy. If it was easy, I always say everyone would be doing it, right?
Right.
Mm. And especially like, what also shocked me was when I compare it to Kenya, the cost for the residency, for the business visa, and the residence permit for a year. How much was it again?
For Kenya?
For
Oh,
Rwanda.
for Rwanda. So for the residency, now we paid, what the heck did we pay? Um, why is it hard for me to know what we paid? Because we kind of tied it in with our business registration.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
and
What did this
Mike just
like?
stepped outside. We overpaid. That's part of our journey that you need to know about. We overpaid because we were just overcharged, just because they know that you don't know what the price should be. So
Hmm.
we paid, I think, 1,500, or was it 1,800, one of those two.
Hmm.
And that was for both business registration and for the other thing you said, right? What was
The
it?
visa residency.
Yeah, for the visa, the residency, that part for the visa, there's a couple of visas you can get, but there's one you can get and you can get like 10 years. Um,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, but you have to do the border thing, where you leave
Mm,
for even just a couple hours and come back.
mm,
But that one is, I think, like 99. That's not expensive. That one is not expensive. No, but and also um, business registration should not cost you much money. Maybe, I mean, it's just not a lot of money. I'll post prices. This is
mm.
why you need Mike on these cut. He's the numbers one. I'll
Yes.
remember faces, places, names. I'm good with language, but numbers,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
But
special
that's
needs.
so blessed. That's why it's such a blessing that you have each other. I mean, it's so beautiful if you have a partner that has the same vision, and so you both have your strengths, your skills, right, and complement each other so well. And I think you're really on this, especially on a journey like this, you need someone by your side. I mean, you can do it alone, but it's definitely more difficult, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, I still didn't get over the fact that you pay less than, I don't know, $1,000 for the residency, because here in Kenya for a year we pay 500,000 shilling. At least me, with the visa that I hold, with the investor's visa, it's 250,000 shilling, which is like, I don't know, 500,000 shilling. I pay like at least $4,000 per year just to
oh,
be here.
oh
You
no,
know.
yeah,
Yes.
no,
So, I mean, Rwanda definitely, we've already decided that will be worth looking at. I'm so curious because also I know it's not going to stay like this forever.
no. And especially they don't have a whole lot of space, so once I guess it's gone, then you have to go to one of the other, what is it, 53 countries? That's
Exactly.
there. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, Monica, really so inspiring. Thanks so much for sharing.
Mm,
So before we close the session, share with us what this journey has done to you, how it transformed you from visiting the African continent for the first time and now being in the process of owning land in the motherland, which is also like, I feel like kind of a spiritual journey
mhm,
somehow
mhm.
transformed you. And what would you advise our brothers and sisters across the diaspora, in these hard times and uncertain times that we are living in?
Yeah,
uh, what they should do, or what would help
yeah.
them to build stability and freedom for them.
Yeah, the system here is really designed to keep you tethered and so that you can't move around. I think they have a saying, you will own nothing and be happy. And that's really, they have really worked hard to make that the reality. Many people can't see themselves leaving because they really do tie you down. I can't remember what movie it's from, but you can see them throwing all these ropes around this person on the ground, and then they're just like they're like this. And so because you got your mortgage, you've got your different notes. If you have any notes, like a car note or something, you might have student loans, which are extremely burdensome.
Mm,
And jobs, and you feel like, how can I get out? But where there's a will, there is a way. And I like what our sister Janine said in the call today. She said, you don't have to be thinking 2 and 3 steps ahead. There's
mm,
ways that you can even just go and begin to see the place and explore and let the land speak to you and see what you learn about it, and in line with what you want, and this sort of thing like that. So how's it changed me? I used to be the most, I was just happy, what I mean. I thought that this was like a great place to be, and I was the most flag wavingest, what I'm saying, hot dog eating, whatever. And I just never thought about living anywhere else. Maybe I thought at one time France or something because I learned French all the way through school. But man, the way my mind and my heart has changed when you discover that it's really a matrix and it's not at all what you thought. Everything is an illusion. You've been lied to about so much, and that there's so much wickedness and evil. And you're just like, okay. So once you realize that, you're just like, so now knowing this, what do I do? And so that's how we just came to the we were just like, okay, so this is not our home. So the first part of it was just really coming to the place where we're just like, we don't feel attachment to this place. We don't feel a love to this place. And we certainly don't feel stuck to this place. We refuse to be stuck. So we just started to talk to other people and let them speak to us about, different ideas and ways of how you can begin to get out. And it's really just freeing yourself. Um, even if it's like one rope at a time. If you imagine
Mhm.
yourself in a web, you're just cutting one at a time. When you get out, you have to get out.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's changed me as a person. It's changed the way that I view this country for sure. It's changed the way that I view Africa for sure. The way that I view myself and who I am and whose I am and where I belong. Um, yeah, it's been the richest experience. It really has. I wouldn't trade, and even the mistakes. I've learned so much. The people that I've met, um, it's spiritual. It's amazing. I'm at peace with. I used to feel an urgency. I used to be, oh, I gotta get out of here. Oh my gosh, and now I'm beyond that because I know that God has got me. I know that it's important not to make emotional decisions. Try not to, even when uh,
Mhm.
you know, the walls are falling down. Um, just have your plan and go with what you've learned, and you've got friends now in different various places, and you've got family. So you're not alone. And that's really what got me to take the first step, Winnie, was knowing that you were there, Marvin was there, and I took a leap of faith, because we only knew you from the internet when we went, and um, I was like a little bit kind of like, what is this going to be like? And but thank God that you were actually good people, so it worked out. But this community is really, we've met some really great people through it, and it's grown the Homebase Africa community, and now we've got friends in various places. Like I've got a sister, over in Asia, and then there's, ones here. There's some in London, and then there's in Africa, and so oh, and Dubai. So
Mhm.
there's just and also it's grown me as a person now because now I care. In America, they got you, they don't want you to be very educated about what's going on in the rest of the world. But because now I have family and friends over there, I care very much what is happening in Dubai. I care very much what is happening in Ethiopia. That matters a whole lot to me now. And I'm going to educate myself and find out what's going on there. And the first thing I think about when I see something, a person will come to mind instead of you seeing that and you'd be like, wow, that's happening way over there. Now it's just like, oh my God, how is so and so's family? You know? So yeah, it's changed me and grown me as a person in a way that I'm eternally grateful for.
And we're also so grateful for you, really. This journey is, I mean, when we started the Homebase Africa community, we never imagined that it would take, this shape that it's taking now from, hey guys, let's everyone rent Airbnb properties and sub-rent them. Now we have people who bought land and are building in Rwanda, in Gambia, in Zanzibar, in Kenya. It's like, I feel like, me and Marvin, we gain so much. People always say thank you for building the community, but it's you who make this community. And what I love is that we really like openly share, our experiences, our contacts, and I know if I ever want to go to Rwanda, I mean, like the hardest step is you remember we all started somewhere, and I remember in the first weeks when we had the first live call, the biggest concern everyone in the group had was, how do I get to know people on the ground? How do I build connections, right?
Yep.
And that was, it turned out that was actually the easiest part, apart from the community. But you know, when you actually go there, how easy it is to meet people. Of course, you will not always meet good people, but discernment is very important, right? But I mean, the fact that we got each other back, right? I feel like that took away so much fear for me, knowing that when I want to invest in Rwanda tomorrow and want to become your neighbor, I just,
Yeah.
I know what to do, who to talk to. I can count on your guidance and vice versa. And I think that is really the biggest value in this family that we are building. And I'm eternally grateful for that, really.
Yeah, it's like I
Can't
just
wait for
started.
the first
I said,
meetup.
what did you
I
say?
can't wait for the first in-person meetup in Rwanda.
Oh yes, me too. Very excited. I was just gonna say in the beginning it started with just like I said, I took a chance because it was just, we were at the beginning, so it was really just you. But now it's like we have two calls every week. We really get to know, and we've got even met face to face now and spent time with some of the members of the community. So it's not even just us anymore. So now I know that I do have a network. I do have people, good people that I've met in these other places. And you're right. You go and you spend time in a place, and if you're, when I won't say if, when you're blessed enough to connect in a place, you will absolutely make friendships and relationships. There's a there's someone that he started off as our driver, and now we call him our son. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Monica. I really, really love this live. And I hope we're going to have a continuation, a part two. What is the next step? When are you going to back to Rwanda to finalize everything?
The plan is to go back in May, but it's looking like we might go sooner because already we have some friends looking at a couple other properties for us. And,
Mm-hmm.
if it checks out and it looks good from afar, we need to go
Mm-hmm.
lay eyes on it. We need to walk it. We need to see it in person and go ahead and, seal the deal. But so
Mm.
plan was for May, but it's looking like it might be next month. We'll see.
I'm praying for you.
Thank
Whatever
you.
comes, wishing you the best. Thank you so much for joining today's live call. Fam, please, everyone, leave Monica a lot of love. Follow her
Yeah.
channel. Mark was so kind to tag it here.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
thank you
Yeah,
so much.
sorry it's hard to spell, but yeah,
And
I'll be happy to answer questions.
yeah, please drop your questions in the comments so Monica can answer them for you. And I will also try to answer as much as I can. All
I
right,
have
Monica.
a meeting to go to, but I will come back and check for questions.
All right.
Okay.
See you. Have a
Bye,
lovely evening. Bye.